All right, with 22 and 24 and even 23 again, just to kind of talk, really any 23, 20, 22, 23, and 24, you can use quadratic formula for really any of the ones that you have. All I want to do is I want to set each one of these equal to 0. Now, I think on 22 and 24, they're probably a little bit easier than, say, 23, because 22 and 24, we don't necessarily have to use quadratic formula. Okay? We can solve them just like normal, so I can set, like on 22, I can have 1/2 x squared equal to 0. Well, how am I going to get x squared by itself? If I multiply both sides by 2, right? So doesn't that give me x squared equal to 0? Yeah? How do I get rid of that squared? Square root. What's the square root of 0? 0, so I have x equal to 0, right? So there's one of them. Do the same thing then with x minus 6 equal to 0. So what do I need to do to both sides? Add 6. So I have x equal to 6. So there's another one of my answers. And then on this one you kind of have a few options. You could either, like we could do the quadratic formula with x squared plus 25. I would tell you, if you don't have an x like you do on 22 or 23, excuse me, then just take x squared plus 25 and set it equal to 0. How are we going to get x by itself, or x squared by itself? Subtract 25. So I have a negative 25. Now, how do I get rid of the square? Square root. So then I have x equals, what's the square root of a negative 25? Plus or minus 5i? Now, we could have on the x squared plus 25, we could have done quadratic formula and went a is 1, b is 0, c is positive 25. We could have plugged everything in and went the opposite of b, which is just going to be 0 times square root of 0 squared minus 4 times 1 times 25, and went all over 2a, which was just going to be 2. Okay, that would have been okay. You still would have gotten, we still would have ended up with plus or minus the square root of negative 100 and then a 2. Well, negative 100 is just plus or minus 10i. We would have had to divide it by 2, so we still would have gotten plus or minus 5i.